Personally, I believe that theater or performance art can be an effective catalyst for positive social change. I think this mainly because novels, art, performance art, theater, anything really, I feel like it kind of almost predicts the future in a way. Like, you read a novel, a dystopian novel, or you see a play that's unusual, but kind of, it shows you like life could be this way, you know? Or this is actually happening in other parts of the world, and you feel like you feel like this isn't normally happening. And I think that really that causes a positive social change because it's it kind of shows the way for the viewer or the reader or whatever. Really, it's not only theater, but it really shows the viewers that makes them realize this is actually going on in the world, especially for our unit. Because personally, I was really surprised when we saw the video of people train surfing on trains. I thought, wow, that is impossible. But when you think about it, it is actually, people are actually doing this. People actually feel like their life has no meaning because of their financial state, because of money, because of society today. And that's what really influences people to think this way. And people don't realize that. People don't see that because in Dubai we don't have these complications. We don't have financial problems really. We don't have that, and we don't have these kind of acts because we're prevented from doing this. But people in other places of the world are having much harder times, and we watch it on the news. We watch it, we see actual footage, we see what's actually happening, but we don't do anything about it. And when we see a theatrical play, you kind of realize like people are doing this play to show us that this is actually happening, that we need to make this change. We need to use this act to make a positive social change. That's what people try to do during their performances. I think it's more symbolistic to really influence people. During this unit, I think I've gained a lot of more skills personally because firstly, for example, I've learned more about confidence and more about how I should care less about what other people are thinking while I'm doing a certain act. I used to feel um, kind of conscious whenever I acted in front of an audience because I'd not really focus on my character, but I would focus on what other people were thinking about me while I was acting. And this unit really helped me because I had to work with a variety of different people. I had to work with many different characters, like a chef, a child, a train surfer, an uncle. I had to. It's kind of, you just have to do it. You have to give it your all. It doesn't matter who's watching. It doesn't matter what they're thinking. As long as you know personally that what you're doing your best. That you kind of stop caring about what other people are thinking, and that I think that will help me a lot throughout my life in more than just drama. It would really help me in firstly classes such as business, because we're having lots of presentations where we need to be confident. We have to project our voice well. We have to really influence people to be engaged. We have to engage with the audience, and I think I've learned a lot about that during my drama lessons because I feel like I'm engaging the audience more in a way. And as well, explorative strategies and these skills really have helped me because such as marking the moment, and mostly tension, because tension would really help in other subjects such as English, because there's tension in novels as well as like in written sources as well as visual sources. So when you see tension in a visual source, it really helps you think you can do the same thing in literature. You can write the same thing as long as it's effective and you use the same techniques in a way, except not physically but mentally. It would really help with your product. And I think that, so, learning about tension, learning how to make the audience tense during a particular scene, or in literature you would say like in a particular paragraph, it would help a lot to in both ways, so that you can have that image illustrated in your mind to give to the reader or the viewer or whoever, really. Yeah. For our unit of train surfing, for our final performance, firstly, I think our group did very well in working together, working as a team, and using everyone's ideas, because we had a lot of really good ideas that we wanted to put into our performance. We used Sophia's idea, in which we'd have a timeline of Carlita's life to show the effects complications have had on her life. And I think we did really well in like using explorative strategies, and we really focused on our facial expressions and how we want the audience to see us as a character morely. So like we focused a lot on our characters. We focused on how we want people to see us as our characters. For example, we wanted to see the mother really scared she's really thinking about the future, while the father thinks he's doing all his best. He's really confident that he's doing everything, that it shouldn't all be him. And then we have Carlita, who's during her innocence, she was like all carefree, and then when her parents left, it's more, more self-efficient. She had to rely on herself. She had to be more independent, and that affected her acts, her attitude in a lot, because we showed that during the uncle scene, in which she would roll her eyes, or she would do all sorts of things that really symbolized how she doesn't care and she doesn't think it's her fault. And then we had the uncle, who you can see during our performance how he's strict, and that's how I really like during the first look of our characters, we know exactly how their personality is. Like, the uncle is harsh, but he's also kind of loving. He tries his best, but he kind of expects more from Carlita. And as well, the policeman, he's very, well, Ritik, he really showed the suspicion of a police character, and the rush he had, kind of almost the desperateness, or how desperate the police was, because usually policemen, they wouldn't catch the criminal, and in this case, he's really desperate to find him and get the evidence to catch Carlita. And I think that's what was really good. But I think we could have improved in many ways, such as time management, because we tried to come in a lot of our free times, such as our lunches, after schools, but it didn't really work out because of our schedules. But we did have one time in which we could properly work, and that time we used wisely, obviously, but I think we could have used lesson time better. We could have less focused on the perfection of the scene and rather focused on completing it, and then thinking, how could we improve? How could our performance be better? How we can improve in all these different aspects, rather than doing it then on the spot, because we would have just done the scene, and then we would have seen the scene during our video taking, and we would improve it and improve it and improve it to the point where we won't have time to do the rest. And I think that's what ended up happening. when we were supposed to do the scene, we didn't know what to do. We were stuck in a, we had to deal with it because we only had around 20 minutes, and we didn't practice the ending because we were too busy perfecting everything else in our scene, in our performance, which really kind of affected that.